l'attenzione. Volevo solo portare l'attenzione a voi. The servants' quarter in the mansion had once again gone silent. There lay Genji's body, which has been covered up with a blanket. Oh, in the ceiling of this cramped room, a pitch black hole appeared, captivating. Legs sprouted out and gap floated downwards.
ごめんね、源氏。
I'm sorry, Genji.
そこでゆっくり永眠してた
You
いだろうけ
probably
ど、
want to enjoy your eternal sleep there, but that's not going to work.
後ろ宮家の最後の投資、
Disappear from this place so that even after death, you can continue to serve Natsuhi, the final head of the Ushironya family. Gap stripped off the blanket as she said this to Genji, who was sleeping peacefully. Then she stared at the deep wound in his neck.
見事な切り口じゃない。
That's a nice cut.
まさに一刀で切って
It must have been made with a single
こんな真
slice.
似ができるやつが
Has someone capable of this manifested
い
now?
やね。
This isn't so great.
これが可能な
I
心
can't
当たり
think of
のあるやつ
anyone who isn't bad news. It goes without saying, but witches are capable of summoning beings with a strength proportional to their own rank. The great Lady Lambda Delta called that being here as a trump card, 90th person. Ah, oddio, ecco. The great Lady Lambda Delta called that being here as a trump card 19th person. Even optimistically speaking, this is on par with Doronova and me. A pitch black hole opened in the bed, and Genji disappeared as though the bed had swallowed him up. Just like the four in the guest house, Genji's corpse was hidden in some unknown place. It was a place that no one could find, located neither within this world nor the next. No longer would anyone be able to find their bodies. No longer would anyone be able to confirm their deaths. Genji's body was carried to that place of endless silence, where he would never be disturbed.
死体がなければ行方不明
Without a corpse, he will be treated as
行
missing.
方不明
To
扱
be
いと
treated
は
as missing is to be treated as both culprit and victim, truly like the inside of a cat
まさに
box.
開かれることの決し
The
てない猫
darkness
箱の
within
中の
cat
暗闇こ
boxes
そ
that will never be
我らが
open
悪魔と魔女
is the
のすべて
haunt of witches and demons like us.
言って遅かったわね
You're one move
ね
too late,
さ
Miss Great Detective. Gap licked her lips and swallowed.
どうしてガッツ
I
様
wonder why Gap-sama is going around hiding corpses.
シーラ
No idea, but Gap-sama is pretty cool.
かっこいいよねなんていうのか
She's just so awesome. È vero, Asmo.
バカ言ってんじゃない
Stop
わ
talking nonsense. What happened to that standing guard?
人間たちがゲストハ
The
ウスから
humans
戻
are
ってくるわよ
returning to the guest
ガッ
house.
プ様
Gap-sama.
ええ
Yes,
退散するわ
let's
よ
disperse.
これで
This should be enough to give Natsuhi a way out. Gap jumped into a pitch black hole which had opened near her feet. Mammon shouted, "I want to go in too," and jumped in. Followed by Asmo, which said, me too," and hopped in giggling. As Satan hesitated over what to do, the hole closed.
煉獄の七姉妹と
And you call yourself members of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory? How childish. So stupid. Baka mitai. Okay. Ha detto baka mitai. Satan went bright red and got angry all by herself, then turned into gold butterflies and disappeared. It seems that Gapek succeeded in moving the 5 corpses.
ご苦労で
Well done.
しかし
However, the next part will be a tricky one. You will probably be somewhat surprised at the disappearance of Genji's corpse, but their interest will most likely swing back to Kinza's study after that.
書斎の鍵は
There are 2 keys to the
夏
study.
日が全て所
It's
持してい
fortunate
た
that
幸運であ
Natsuhi
っ
is in
た
possession of both.
もし
If she had left one with Genji, would they probably have fallen into Lady Lambda Delta's
ラム
hands
ダデルタ
by
教の手に
now.
落ちていたであろ
It seems that Lambda Delta has no intention of hiding Kinzo's death. Apparently, she plans to fight while ignoring the moat, towers and ramparts that you have created. Cute. This has become a strange triangular confrontation. We are all each other's enemies, but sometimes join forces unintentionally. It's a three-way fight, yet the next moment it's 2 against 1, and then suddenly 1 against 2. I know what this is like. The Chinese Battle Royale. Don't you think it's like the Records of the Three Kingdoms thing? Oh, the Longsong plan. That's quite a sophisticated analogy to hear coming from you. Cosa intendi dire? There were 3 empires in the Records of the Three Kingdoms, weren't there? Wei, non so pronunciare, non so le pronunce cinesi. Wei, Wu e Shu, right? That sounds just like us. So, which empire won out in the end? The power that gained control in the end was the Qin dynasty. The 3 empires you mentioned were all destroyed. I didn't know that. I thought one of the 3 empires won. Did the Wei not have an overwhelming advantage? They had the position of emperor stolen from them, and their empire was subjugated and destroyed. The Sima clan, a noble family that Cao Cao invited in as advisors, eventually gained central control in a power struggle and took over the country. Ciao Andrew, auguri ancora! So, they were invited in as advisors, and then they seized control. Very interesting. That Lady Lambda Delta. Excuse me. The humans have confirmed the disappearance of Genji's corpse in the servants' quarters. They have started moving towards Lord Goldsmith's study. È vero che la chiama Rice. Rice, they're coming. Let them come. The humans and the witches of certainty and miracles. If this is a 3-way fight, then the 3 sides are the humans, the witches, and what are we? If the objects of our protection is Kinzo's illusion, we must be the illusions then. I mean, eravamo vicino alla fine del capitolo. Ok, passati 20 minuti. 10 wedges to pierce witches. Father, it's Natsuhi. Good morning. There's no way he'll wake up if you do it like that. Father, it's Eva. Please wake up. It's an emergency. Eva pushed Natsuhi aside and knocked repeatedly with all of her strength. Quiet down. Don't make such a racket. Sono morti i vostri figli, vorrei ricordare. Do you really think now is the time to be saying something like that? So, he isn't picking up the phone, and he isn't responding to knocking either. What a quandary. He might be in a foul mood again. Kinzo-san's son sometimes detects omens in the slightest of changes, and gets into a bad mood for a reason only apparent to him. Yes, and that's true. This isn't something that started today. Does grandfather really shut himself away in his study that hard? Yes, it's not uncommon for him to stay in his study for over a month at a time. Privately speaking, even though I work here, I sometimes forget that the master even lives here. Koda! That is not the sort of statement I expect to hear from a servant. My apologies, madame. I am truly sorry. Anyway, isn't it bad that if we can get in touch? Anyway, isn't it bad if we can't get in touch with him? I mean, father might not even know there's crimes going on, right? I am not sure. Keenly noticing that people were starting to doubt Kinzo's existence, Canon mumbled these words. Who was the last person to see father? And when? It was me. Last night, up until moments before all the fuss and butlers couldn't find the gold, I was reporting the day's events to him in the study. So around 11 o'clock last night. No way around it. Let's open it up. What did you say? This is the family head's precious study and the research room. No one is permitted to intrude without his permission. No one! Who here holds the highest rank? Me, remember? I am the third in rank of the Ushiromiya family. And if someone must be scolded by father for opening this door, then that will be my responsibility as the highest ranked as well. As this is an emergency, I am opening this door. You have the key, right? Open it. I believe you know this, but the study door cannot be opened with the master keys. The master recently took away Genji-sama's key as well. He has both keys on his person now. So, both of the keys that can open this door are inside the study. A locked room. Good. Things are finally starting to get a little interesting. If inside that room, Kinzo-san is lying on the bed with his throat cut, that would be pretty neat. That is incredibly inappropriate, Erika-san. Anyway, as you know, this door can only be opened by the key that father has. Keys that father has. That means it's impossible for anyone, even a murderer, to do so, to so much as touch father from outside the room. So I'm certain that the head is perfectly fine. That doesn't mean it's okay not to make sure he's safe, does it? Is it really that important to you not to confirm the safety of the father you respect so much? That isn't what I... The atmosphere, which had been so agitated a second ago, suddenly went cold, and an eerie feeling filled the room as everyone stared at Natsuhi. They could understand why Natsuhi would protect the study under normal circumstances. It was understood that she probably didn't want to disturb the research of Kinzo, whom she respected, and she was therefore trying to keep the unpleasant relatives away. However, this was an emergency. People had been murdered. Natsuhi's persistence in keeping things quiet for Kinzo, even in a situation like this, was hard to understand from a rational perspective. The evidence suggests that the crimes occurring on this island are most likely a series of murders following the epitaph. It's probably reasonable to assume that the crimes will continue. If we reinterpret the epitaph as outlining this series of murders, that means that the crimes will continue further, resulting in a total of 13 lives being taken. Do you have any concept of how many victims that would be? Wait a sec. How many people do you think there are on this island? That'd be almost everyone. No, you have it all wrong. To my knowledge, the serial murder resulting in the most deaths in the mystery novel history was 10 people in a well-known work from England. in which everyone, including the culprit, died.
日本ミステリー
As far as Japanese mysteries goes, it's probably the famous novel in which an astrologer served as a detective,
こっちは
though there were less than 10 deaths in that one.
知ってま
Do
した
you realize?
このまま13人
If this continues to 13 people, and 13 people died,
最高
it
の
would
名誉
lead to the most prestigious and gruesomely spectacular accomplishment in the annals of mystery writing.
13人連続殺人事件が
The completion of a 13-person serial murder
それ
case.
どころか
And if everyone on
この
this
島
island
の
is
全員を
killed,
殺しなんと
why? That could give it even a greater number. That could give it an even greater number of deaths than the world record from serial murder mystery in Japan recorded and Japan recorded added together, making it a historical achievement in the world of serial murder mysteries.
知ってました
Did you know that, ladies and gentlemen?
この事件の犯人
The culprit of this crime
世界
is undertaking an incredible challenge, one that stands to rewrite the record books of mysteries throughout the world and throughout history.
もちろんそんなの
But
皆様
I'm sure
方
all
は
of you were well aware of that, weren't
推
you?
理好きなら
Any mystery lover worth their salt will have read the works of the Queen of Crime.
さらに
And it would go without saying that any Japanese reader had covered the works of the Shin Honkaku genre of mysteries.
皆さん
Are you sure you've been reading, everyone? Tu non stai bene, Furudo Erika. Molto interessante, signorino Furudo, ma lei è davanti alla corte d'assise, imputata di 16 omicidi.
ダメだな。
That's no good.
なら
Looks like you haven't read enough yourself. Oh!
何か私間違いを
Did I say something wrong? Erika, who has been chatting away happily all by herself up until a second ago, changed her expression into a displeased glare in an
日本
instant.
ミステリー界の話だが
About Japanese
新
mysteries.
本格よりも先に
Prior to Shin Honkaku, a writer of the Shin Gezaku school wrote a different work that also qualifies.
人数
The number of people was the same in both.
記録はタイでも
They tie for the record, but if you pay attention to the fact that the Shin Gezaku novel asked its readers to search for the culprit, it's a far more fitting example.
あんたくらい白
If you know so much about this, shouldn't your example have been based on more than simply the number of victims, like perhaps the approaches of each work? Il Redditor è stato umiliato. Erika glared at Butler with an expression that couldn't be fully described with the word. Couldn't be fully described with the word shock, and her arms shook as she stood there, lost for words. Oh my gosh, she's so lame. This is priceless.
仕方ない
Well, I mean, who can blame her, right?
新本格の方が
Shin Honkaku is much more famous where mysteries are concerned.
原作派
It's easy to overlook that there were murder mysteries among the Shin Gezaku novels. Lambda Delta kept on hitting the table with both hands, overcome with laughter. Even Berkassel, who had been enduring the humiliation, suddenly snorted and started pounding the table and laughing in the same way. Wow, non me lo aspettavo da Bern. Erika non sarà felice di questo.
面白い面白い
This is just too good.
やるじゃない
Not bad, Butler's piece. Adesso Erika fa Harakiri. Sta rompendo più volte questa dimensione, eccola.
尊敬します
I'm
バ
impressed.
トラさんって
Butler-san, you must be quite a reader.
読んでますね
本
Of books? No, I'm no reader, not at all. I'm no reader, not at all.
嘘ばっか
You
り
liar. You're clearly quite well read.
本を読んでるなんて
I've never been so arrogant as to say I read. I drive.
本を読んでるって
And I don't even get through 100 books a
年に
year.
ほんの100冊も読まないようなやつがうかつに口にして
Someone like me should think twice before calling themselves a reader.
ごまの
You miserable beast. Anyway, we can't let this turn into a massive crime like that.
そうだな。
That's
とに
right.
かく
At any rate, checking Dad's safety is our first priority right now.
しかしどうする
What should we do?
電話もノックも
He's ignoring the phone and our knocking. The keys are inside. There's nothing we can do.
この分厚い
Are we supposed to knock
扉を
this thick door
そ
down?
いつは何
That
気な
won't be
話だぜ
easy.
ひょっとするとお父様は
Father may have been attacked by someone and severely injured, and maybe he's waiting for someone to
誰か
help
の
him.
助けを待っているのかもしれない。この非常時だ。
These are extraordinary
お父様だって分
circumstances.
かってくださいよ。
Even Father will
それで
understand.
叱責
And
がある
if
よう
he
なら
has any
私が
rebuke,
甘
I'd
んじ
be
て
happy
受け
to
よう
take
じゃない
responsibility myself.
しかし
But
扉を破るな
breaking down the door
窓は
would be altogether too rude. What about the windows?
そうです
That's right.
窓です
The windows.
3階の窓まで
Is there a ladder
はしごがあるから
somewhere which can
入り
reach up to the third floor
窓を
windows?
破れば
We should be able to get inside by smashing the glass. Erika finally gathered herself together, and her tone regained its decisive edge.
3階の
The
窓
third story window. Oh, that would be dangerous.
やってみなけりゃわからな
We
い
won't know unless we
3階
try.
まで届くはしごは
Is
ね
there a ladder around here that can reach up to the third floor?
園芸倉庫の
I don't think the ladder in the gardening shed is long enough.
あ
Oh, then what about the ladder in the boiler room?
あ以前雨どい
I remember using it some time ago when a bird made its nest on top of the rain gutter.
え
Yeah, that would do the trick, without a
え
doubt.
間違いありません
He must have been extremely happy about thinking of something Canon hadn't. Looking pleased with himself as though he had won something, he glanced around at everyone. He was probably hoping that Natsuhi would praise him, but she quickly avoided his gaze. Of course, Canon had known about that ladder too. However, in order to protect Kinzo's secret, he had intentionally pretended to have forgotten.
この天気ですし
But with this weather and the strong winds,
いくらなんでも危険
isn't this just too dangerous?
同感だ
Oh, I agree.
怪我をしても
If one
明
of
日までは
us
病院
gets
にも行けないのです
seriously injured, we won't be able to go to a hospital until tomorrow.
中庭なら
The
風の影
wind
響
might
が
not
少
be
ないかもし
as
れない
strong in the
とりあ
courtyard.
えず
I
様子を
think
見
it's
る
at
価値
least
はある
worth it to take a look.
いやしか
I
し
must say, getting up to the third floor would be quite a challenge.
鳥の巣の片
Back
付けの
when we
時
had to
も
clean away the bird's nest, most of the servants shrank away from danger.
それをこの不祥
And
豪が
and that's why I, your humble servant, took it upon myself to accomplish the task.
よし
Right, then there's no problem.
何しろ届
We've
く
got a ladder that's tall enough,
実績のあ
and
る
someone
人間も
who's
いるん
proven
だ
he can use it.
はい
Eh? La gag. Ha fatto la gag. Because the courtyard was surrounded Mamma mia. Because the courtyard was surrounded on all four sides, while the rain was fierce, the winds had almost no effect. Fortunately, the roof jutted out a bit, so the rain wasn't even so bad.
よし
Alright,
はしごを立てかけて
let's
みる
try standing the ladder up.
気をつけろよ
Be careful,
怪我すんなよ
don't hurt yourself. Sure. Rudolph and Butler carried the special ladder, which was designed for work on high places. Two umbrellas followed the pair. Shannon and Cannon were holding umbrellas and sheltering Rudolph and Butler from the
俺
rain.
たちは濡れても平気だぜ
You don't care about getting wet. Go back under the eaves.
ゴーダさん
Goda
膝
san,
の調子を悪く
your knees might be acting up, but you can at least hold the ladder down, right? Yes, sir.
ヒアルロン
If
酸
only he had
なら
enough
はしごをするそうなのですが
Hyaluronan.
本当に申し
Going
訳
up a
ない
ladder would be no problem at all. I am truly sorry. Goda rushed to replace Canon and Shannon. Kiri giggled as she giggled as she walked him.
親父金槌
Dead hammer.
おう
Cool.
バトラー
Butler, do you
Alright.
like
ア
athletics?
スレチックは好きか
Athletic.
アスレチックより日曜大工頑張るかっこいい親父が好きだぜ
Not as much as I love my cool handyman of a dad. Ma cosa stai dicendo?
こいつ
You little brat.
やれやれ
Sheesh, I guess I need to show this son of mine my good side every once in a
バ
while.
トラーゴダさん
But, Goda-san, hold that ladder down tight.
あと
And make sure you're looking up, okay?
俺が手をす
My
る
hand might slip and you'll have this hammer tumbling down on you.
安心しろよ
Don't worry, I'll catch it and smash your head in. Okay, so Butler. Rudolph put the hammer meant for breaking the window down in his pocket. Then, after cracking his knuckles, he started climbing the ladder.
ルドルフ様
What a thrill. Will Rudolph-sama be
大
alright?
丈夫よ
You'll be
あの人ア
fine.
クション映画
That
も
guy
見るし
could be in an action
それ
movie.
にスポーツだって
Plus,
得意な
sports are on his strong points. Oh, attenzione! Movimento!
得意のスケート
I wish you'd tell me how my skating prowess is supposed to help me climb
俺
ladders.
はイナバウアー常に大ピンチとくら
Vabbè, okay. I am in a bower, always in danger or whatever.
なんだかんだ死なないか
He
ら大
never
丈夫
died, so he'll be fine.
それより
Anyways, we are really lucky that the shutters aren't
お
down.
父様の書斎で
Isn't
は
it standard practice to lower the shutters to father's study at night?
いえ
It
お部屋に
It
入る
is.
ことが許されている時には朝と
When we
夜
are
の
permitted
私
to
は
enter, we open the shutters in the morning and close them at night.
ただここしばらくは
However, the master told us that there was no need for the time being, so I think we left them open.
なるほど
I
お父
see.
様はお怒りになる
Father will be pretty mad, won't
お
he,
休み中に
if
息
his
子が
son
窓を割
smashes his window and comes in while he's sleeping.
それは
Well,
おそらく
probably.
窓を割らずに済む
It would be wonderful if we didn't have to smash the window, don't you think? Lei ha capito tutto, Kiri è quella furba. Both Canon and Shannon knew that Kinzo no longer existed in this world. Natsuhi ordered them to interfere as much as possible, but now that it has come to this, there was nothing that the two of them could do. They had tried to interfere by pretending that they didn't know about the ladder that could reach up to the third floor window, but because of Goda's showing off, that ladder had been found. Rudolph carefully climbed the ladder. He would reach the third floor window very soon. As he did this, Shannon and Canon stared at him, looking uneasy. What would happen after this? To the two of them? To Madame? The Master? Comunque sta ancora andando su, è veramente what a thrill. Very soon Rudolph would reach that window.
この部屋の結界も
So the barrier around this room is giving away at last. Kinzo. The soldiers are scaling the castle walls. Truly, we stand only moments from the fall of the keep. I am prepared to be erased at any moment.
そうはいかな
We
い
can't let that happen.
泥をすすって
You have to remain alive, even if it means crawling through the dirt.
後のことは考え
I
る
think about what comes next.
今はここを逃れ
Escape from this place for now. That is easier said than done. Eva and the others are still in a position in the hallway, and Rudolph is approaching the window. There's no way of retreat through either.
ならば
In that case, perhaps you could hide under the bed. So, I am not even permitted to await the enemy's arrival seated on my throne.
そなたの人生
You
な
might
ら
have
ば
done that
それ
while you
も
were
一
still
緒に
alive.
しかし
However, you are now a ghost that Natsuhi and I
我
brought
が
to
夏日に
life.
課される亡霊よ亡霊は亡霊だ
Ghosts should do what ghosts do best and hide under the bed or in a closet. Will something like that really fool them? So, it comes to this.
大丈夫
Don't worry,
私がついてい
I'll
る
be with you.
最後の瞬間には
I'll get you out at
私
the
があん
last
たを脱
moment.
出させる
It'll be dangerous for you. Even though you're a demon, you won't get away unscathed if you're burned by the anti-magic toxin.
大丈夫よ
Don't worry about
そ
that.
れに私
Anyways, I need things to get at least that bad before my heart starts pumping. How reassuring. Very well. I'll hide under the bed.
お嬢さん
Milady,
ルドルフがもう
Rudolph, we reach the window very soon.
が
Gap,
気が変わった
I've changed my mind.
わらわ
I
が
will
ここを
guard
守
this
る
place.
そなたはロノウ
Hide
に身を隠す
yourself along with Ronove.
なんですって
What did you say?
話が違います
This was not the plan.
ここはガープ
We
に
planned
任せ
to leave this place
お
to
嬢
Gap
様
and
は
have
避
you
難される
retreat,
ことになってい
milady.
たはずです
Even though Ronove should have been used to her fickleness, this surprised him for the first time in a long while. Though Beato was the powerful queen, she was also an important piece that should not be exposed to danger. Though she was strong, running to the front lines without any plan would not be a praiseworthy move.
何の気まぐれ
What kind of whims is this?
ただの気まぐれだ
It's just a
そなた
whim.
に任せて
I'm
紅
not
茶
so
を
fond
勧
of
めてられる
boredom that I could simply sip
わらわは
tea
退
while
屈を
leaving
愛して
everything
お
to
らぬ
you.
のでな早速
I've
暴れ
just
てみた
gotten
く
the
なった
urge
だ
to
け
jump into the struggle right away.
わかったわ
Okay.
あなたのゲームだもん
It is your game.
あなたの好きにするとい
Do
うわ
what you want.
私は
I'll keep a close watch. The first Twilight corpses I erased to make sure nothing happens to them.
すまぬな
I'm sorry for stealing your time to shine.
よろしいのですか
Are you certain about this, milady?
わらわは目立つ
You
の
know
が
that I
三度
love
の飯より好
attention
きであ
more
る
than
こと
my
は
3 meals a
ガ
day.
ープの出番
I've
を
done
食って
nothing
しまっ
except
ただけ
gobble up
だ
Gap's turn on the
気に
stage.
するでない
Don't pay it any mind. Ronove and Gap were both silent. The two of them had already noticed. Lady Bercastel, who used Ferudo Erika as a piece, was a terrifying opponent. This fight will probably be very terrifying as well. Beato couldn't expose Gap, her friend, to this danger. So Beato bluffed and said that this wasn't the case, but Ronove and Gap had already figured it out. Therefore, after confirming Beato's resolve one last time and seeing that she was completely firm in her decision, they nodded in silence and accepted it.
わかったわ
Okay.
この場はあなた
I'll
に
leave this up to you.
応援
I'm
して
rooting for you.
気をつけて
Take care.
わらわ
Indeed.
の活躍
Feel free to stand back and watch my performance.
おそらく
Lady Castle will probably start trying to expose Kinzo's absence with a locked room argument.
密室での
Fights in a locked room are normally Gap's area of
戦い
expertise.
クイーンは広い場所で
Queens
戦
rule
っ
the
てこその
battlefield
支配
because they are
者です
best at fighting in wide open areas.
戦いにはなりま
This
せん
won't be an easy fight.
100も承知よ
I'm fully aware of
わら
that.
わは今
I currently
ナツヒ
serve
に仕えておる
Natsuhi.
そのナツヒ
It
の
would not be right for me to delegate her peril to Gap and cautiously watch her from safety.
かしこまりました
Understood. I wish you luck in your battle.
気をつけて
Be
完
careful.
全に密室に
If it becomes a complete locked room, we won't be able to come in and help you.
ちょいと鼻であしらい
I'll laugh at them a bit, and if things get bad, I'll just grab Kinzo and run for it.
簡単な
It'll
もの
be
よ
easy.
扉に
With the
窓
door and the window, the past and the future to choose from, there are plenty of places to run
密
to.
室に
Of course, I won't let this become a locked room.
姿はなくとも
Though you won't see us, we'll be cheering you on from very close by.
頑張って
Good luck. Good luck. Gambatte. Capperro 9 became a swarm of gold butterflies and disappeared, and Kinzo melted into the darkness beneath the bed. Then, Beato also became a swarm of gold butterflies and melted away inside the study. After that, all figures and sign of life had disappeared from the study, and it once more regained a silence as though no one had been there from the beginning. Then Rudolph's outline slipped into view from beyond the window's curtain. Attenzione, animazioni, di nuovo. Dad, if you're in there, answer. Dad! As he yelled, he hit the window. His foothold was so uncertain that just hitting the window felt life-threatening. But of course, it was Rudolph, the show-off. Deciding that he couldn't show himself up with so many watching from below, he suppressed the fear from being so high up, and boldly knocked on the window. Come on, grandfather, can you hear? I wonder. I hope he doesn't drop the hammer. How many seconds have passed? It's been 30 seconds since he knocked on the window. So, is he really going to smash it? But the master will be very angry. There's one person who's been kind enough to brag about how accepting that anger is her duty, so there's no need to worry. Rudolph-san, that's enough. Do it. Sure. Damn it, Dad. You better not complain after I smash it. He hit it several times and eventually a fist-sized hole opened up in the glass. Because of his unstable footing, this took a lot of effort. Using the end of the hammer skillfully, he brushed aside the now fractured bits of glass and opened the hole further. He stuck his hand right through it and unlocked the window. Then, after a hard struggle, he somehow managed to open the window and his body slipped through into the study. After that, he flopped onto the floor, using his entire body to enjoy the relief of having a ground under him. Dad! It's Rudolph! Answer me! It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that Kinzo's study was a small villa he had created inside the mansion. A study, a book archive, a place to sleep, and a bathroom and a washroom. It was divided into multiple rooms. Indeed, with all of this at your fingertips, it wouldn't be hard to spend your days in this study without even leaving at all. Mi piacerebbe tantissimo poter fare un tour anche con la realtà virtuale della magione Ushiromi, sarebbe molto figo. There were marks on it which had been... Mi sembra che qualcuno l'ha fatto su Minecraft, ora che ci penso, vabbè. There were marks on it which made it seem as though someone had slipped out, but there was no one in sight. They do this a lot in ninja movies. The bed is still warm, they can't have gotten far, just like that. Rudolph tried placing his hand on the bed, and he couldn't feel any heat at all. Not only there was no heat, he felt completely ice cold. And the bed wasn't the only thing that was ice cold. The air inside the room and even the presence about it, if that's the right word for it, even that felt ice cold. To Rudolph, it felt as though Kinzo had slipped out of this room a long time ago. It's very clean. There aren't any signs it's been lived in. Wrinkles in the bed, the slight angle of the chair. Here and there were many marks that would doubtlessly have been cleaned or fixed up in someone had come in and make the beds. As far as I can tell off the top of my head, Dad must have slipped out of bed several hours at the latest. That placed it in the same general time period as the brutal murder. Perché non c'è scritto murders? Sì, no, c'è scritto dopo però. As the brutal series of murders. It didn't seem possible to say that Kinzo's absence was completely unrelated to that crime. Having reached a dead end for now, Rudolph leaned out of the window and told Kiri and the others in the courtyard to come back up since he was going to unlock the door. Then he pushed the button on the study desk and released the door auto-lock. There was a heavy clunking sound, and Natsuhi and the rest dashed in immediately. Father, good morning.
親父じゃなくて悪い。
Sorry, but it isn't Dad.
開けたのは俺。
I'm the one who opened it.
金蔵さんは
Was Kinzo-san there?
いいえ。
Nope.
ベッドを抜け出した
There
後
are
は
signs he slipped out of bed, but no way to tell when that was.
最後に会った
And
のは
Natsui Nesan was the last person to meet him, right?
昨夜の11
At
時
around 11 o'clock last night.
それ以降
I wonder if that means he slipped out of the study sometime after that and went somewhere else.
それは
Well,
でも
Father is a fickle man. Many times he has bolted awake in the middle of the night saying that he had the revelation in a dream and walked around the mansion.
そうですよね
Isn't that right, Dr. Nanjo? Yes, that sort of thing has happened before. As you say, he is a fickle fellow. Right, Kumasawa-san. L'unica che sa mentire un pochino qua dentro. Oh, that's true. He might have had some sort of strange dream and slipped out of bed. That happens a lot, yes.
じゃあ抜け出してどこに行ったっ
Then
け
where did he slip off
お父
to?
さん
Is there a good chance Father's been caught up in this crime?
ほらね
You see,
お父様の
we
安
should
否を
have
確
checked
か
to
め
make
る
sure
べきだった
Father
で
was
しょ
safe from the beginning, shouldn't we?
この部屋に
We
いない
can't
と
be
は限
sure
らない
he isn't in this room.
ひょっとすると
Maybe the culprit
犯人
tied
に
him
縛ら
up
れて
and
ク
locked
ロー
him
ゼ
in
ッ
a
トの中
closet
に
or
閉じ込
something
めら
like
れている
that.
ということもあるかもしれない
ですね
Just what I was thinking.
探しましょう
Let's conduct a search.
当主様の大切な書斎
The
です
head treasures, the head treasures this study. I will not do to have you pawing all over it.
ああそうだ
Oh, that's right.
犯人さんに申し上げてお
I
き
have an
ます
announcement for our guilty party. When Natsuhi heard this from right in front of her, her heart froze. But Erika has only just happened to be standing right in front of Natsuhi when she said it. She had directed her words to the room at large. She hadn't been speaking to Natsuhi in particular. Natsuhi turned her back on Erika, trying to make it so that her faltering expression wasn't noticed.
私
My memory is photographic in every
何
detail.
かの証拠を
If
隠蔽
any
しようと
attempt
して
is made to
現場
hide
を改
evidence
ざん
or
すれば
alter the
すぐに
scene,
わかる
I will know at
こ
once.
んなところで
Please
ボロを
don't
出して
commit some
私を
stupid
失望
blunder
させない
here
で
and
ください
disappoint me.
フーダニットが
Don't you agree
犯
that
人のボロの出現
that
で特定
any
できる
whodunit
ミステリ
in
ー
which the culprit is unmasked by way of some silly mistake or slip of the tongue is dreadfully third-rate?
何を言っているのかわか
I
り
don't
ません
understand what you're talking about.
不謹慎
Well,
な発
I'll
言は
ask you
慎
to
むように
refrain from imprudent remarks.
お父様いらっしゃいませんか
Father, are you
お
there?
返事をしてください
Please answer me. Natsui started walking around and calling out in a loud voice, refusing to let Erika say any more. There was a knock. Kiri and the others who have gone down the courtyard had returned.
やっぱりお父
No
様はい
signs
ない
of father, I assume.
どっかに踏ん縛られて
He might be tied up or shut away somewhere around here.
それを探すと
We were just about to start searching for him.
よくこんなとこ
I'm amazed he can keep himself locked up in a place like this for so long.
諦めよう
Give it up, Nisan. We can't change anything now.
奥様は
I wonder what Madame's plans to do.
自分でついてきた
Get
嘘を
paid
つけさ
back for all the lies she'd stole up until now.
運命
Let's leave it in
は
God's
神様
hands.
に委ねましょう
Ha detto Umme però nelle mani del destino, non Kami-sama. Fammi sentire, eh?
運命は神様に
Ah no,
委ね
dice.
ましょう
Ah, let's leave fate. Mamma mia, dice entrambe le cose. Sono un coglione. Non ho letto, non sono capace di leggere. Scusatemi, ragazzi, sono analfabeta. Dice entrambe le cose. La traduzione giusta sono io che sono scemo. Many people traipsed around Kinzo's vast study, looking here and there. Inside the closet and in the bathtub, even in the refrigerator and under the study desk. They looked everywhere, almost as though they were it in a game of hide and seek. However, not only were they unable to spot Kinzo, they couldn't even find a single suspicious mark. It seems clear that father isn't here. That's enough. I ask you not to disturb father's precious study any further. Yes. There's nothing the master hates more than having things moved around without his permission. Father's nowhere to be found. Maybe he really was caught up in the crime. Though we can't be sure of that. Natsuhi averted her gaze once more. It's alright, Natsuhi. We truly do have our backs against the wall. On the off chance that someone entered the study, I had planned to talk my way out of it by saying that he had probably gone for a walk somewhere. However, no one would believe that I was enjoying a casual midnight stroll in the mansion where a murder had occurred and many people had been killed. Though I wouldn't put it past myself to do such a thing. Ecco, neanche Kinzo wouldn't put things past himself, incredibile. L'uomo del wouldn't put past him, veramente. Come on, Kinzo. Be a good boy and stay hidden under the bed. It's alright, Natsuhi. Remain calm. You can prove that someone exists, but you can't prove that they don't exist. In other words, the human world is one in which, regardless of whether something exists or not, you can make it exist. And the shadows in which you can make it exist form the world of us witches and the world of demons and devils. You mean the devil's proof? Yes. So don't worry, the power of demons will most certainly protect you. If you could protect the honor of father and my husband, I would gladly sacrifice this body of mine to the demons. Your resolve is good. Don't be anxious. I won't allow them to kill Kinzo. Io per un momento pensavo fosse morto Umineko. That moment, a dry sound suddenly rang out twice. Erika had clapped her hands, seeking everyone's attention. Though such an action should have been above a guest's place, for some reason it felt like a natural right of hers. After all, she was the detective. I think that's enough. Ushiroma Kinzo-san is nowhere to be found in this study. Yeah, we search every possible hiding spot. That's nowhere to be seen. And we haven't found anything out of place. Yes, we didn't find anything at all. Erika said it again. They hadn't been able to discover anything. In that case, we mustn't continue to loiter in this room. Do you understand how angry father would be if he learned that so many people were looking through his study? Eva-san, you said you were prepared to take responsibility, didn't you? I hope you're prepared to be disowned for life. Now, that's for father to decide. Not you. Quiet down. I'd like to assemble the facts as we know them. At 11 o'clock last night, the last person to meet Kinzo-san in this room was Natsuhi-san, correct? Can anyone confirm that? Confirm? Yes, that's right. After all, the only one who claims that Natsuhi-san really did stop by here at 11 o'clock last night was Natsuhi-san herself. A confirmation from Kinzo-san that Natsuhi-san did indeed come here last night would have sufficed, but his absence is the very issue under question. Alibis are the foundation of mystery, correct? Yes, that's right. Alibis are important. Of course, they are almost useless when it comes down to actual theory making, but it's a common courtesy to be particularly about this kind of thing. To be particular about this kind of thing. You didn't ask for alibis regarding last night's murders, but you'll do it for grandfather's disappearance, huh? You really are unpredictable. Oh, don't worry. Regarding the murders of the first twilight, have no fear that I will fully examine everyone's alibis for that as well later. So, can anyone confirm that Natsuhi-san visited here at 11 o'clock? If no one can, we'll be forced to doubt whether Natsuhi-san really was the last person to spot him. Are you saying that I can't be trusted? No, just the opposite. I hope that you aren't the culprit. After all, that would be dreadfully dull, don't you agree? Only the worst third-rate mysteries have the most suspicious person as the culprit. Natsuhi-san is suspicious? Wait a second. What exactly is your argument? Yes, calling Madame suspicious is the height of discourtesy. Quiet, Dr. Nanjo, Goddard. Thank you. Erika-san, I presume you have some basis for this tremendous disrespect you just showed me. Oh, I do. It's painfully simple. But if you'll permit me some TV drama quality evidence, I'll be happy to oblige. Let's hear it. When Butler glared at her, a cold expression rose to Erika's face for an instant. But it was only for an instant. After smiling peacefully and gazing around at everyone, she started to talk. She looked like the main character in a play who had come out onto center stage bathed in a spotlight. Think back to this morning. Please recall the chaos that followed the murders. We wanted to inform Kinzo-san about the crime, but he couldn't come out no matter how many times he was called on the phone. Remember what happened then? Anyways, it's bad if we can get in touch with him. I mean, fathers might not even know that there's crime going on, right? I'm not sure. Keenly noticing that people were starting to doubt Kinzo's existence, Kano mumbled his words. Who was the last person to see father, and when? It was me. Last night, up until moments before all the fuss of Butler-kun finding the gold, I was reporting the day's events to him in the study. So around 11 o'clock last night. Erika chuckled significantly. And what's your point? Ridiculous. I think Kirie-san probably did that intentionally. Am I right? What do you mean by that? I figure someone might fall for it. Yes, thank you, Kirie-san. Actually, I was planning to say the same thing if you haven't done it first. Was the question of who saw the master last really that important? Yes. If we take the circumstances into account, then in response to the question, who saw him last, it was very odd for Natsuhi-san to instantly answer me. È vero. Why? Madame told the plain, unvarnished truth. Quiet! Why do you think that was odd? Why are you so sure that no one else saw Kinzo after 11 o'clock? Well, that's because I watched as he went to bed. It's only natural to assume that he would then sleep until morning and not entertain any other visitors. Considering the circumstances, whoever saw him last was going to be at risk of being suspected of having some kind of involvement in this case. A normal person in your position, Natsuhi-san, wouldn't say I was the last person to see him. I met with him at 11 o'clock. Right, Kirie-san? Yes, that's right. A normal person would say, I saw him at 11 o'clock, but I don't know if I was the last person to see him. Something like that. E ti sei un po' fregata effettivamente, Natsuhi. Good. Identifying oneself as the final witness is usually quite difficult. That is, unless you know for some reason that makes you unless you know some reason that makes you certain that there couldn't have been any other witnesses after you. In third-rate mysteries, the final witness is often the culprit. They killed victims themselves, so they knew that no one else could have met the victim later on. Is how the argument goes. That's nothing more than a minor misuse of words. It's nothing to make such a fuss of and focus on. Yes, that's nothing more than nitpicking. Aren't you jumping the gun a little, suspecting Natsuhi-san just because of a little slip of the tongue like that? And you mentioned that Madame must have a reason to be so sure that no one else could have seen Master. But of course, Madame has one. She left the room after seeing Master go to bed. Following common sense, it's perfectly natural to assume that he probably wouldn't meet anyone else until the next morning. No, that isn't natural whatsoever. After all, Natsuhi-san, Dr. Nanjo, and Kumasawa-san all made this claim a short while ago. Please try to remember. And Natsuhi-san was the last person to meet him, right? At around 11 o'clock last night. I wonder if that means he slipped out of the study sometime after that and went somewhere else. Well, but father is a fickle man. Many times he has bolted awake in the middle of the night saying that he had lived a revelation in a dream and blah blah blah. Isn't that right, Dr. Nanjo? Questo è quello che abbiamo visto prima. Yes, the sort of thing has happened before, as you say. He is a quite fickle fellow. Right, Kumasawa-san. E qua mi ricordo anche che avevo detto l'unica che sa mentire un pochino. Cosa è rimasto? No. Yeah, grandfather often slips out of bed all of a sudden late at night. That's what you claimed. Good though. Butler-san, you have quite an impressive memory. In other words, it's well known amongst the people at Yushiramiya Head House, Natsuhi-san included, that there's a chance that Kinzo-san might wake up in the middle of any given night on a whim and wander around. On top of that, they were aware that this happened quite often. Isn't that odd? If you knew that father often wanders around at night, there's no way you could be certain that he stayed in bed until morning. Right? It really is like a third-rate mystery. A lot of those who have this part in the last 5 minutes where the culprit asked, when... a lot of those have this... Okay, a lot of those have this part in the last 5 minutes where the culprit asks, when did you figure out it was me? And the detective answers, it is, isn't it? That's why I felt let down. If it turns out that Natsuhi-san really is the culprit, this will be worse than a TV mystery. That's why I want to clear away the suspicion surrounding Natsuhi-san as soon as I can. I want to make sure that this mystery isn't third-rate before I do anything else. There's no need to get anxious, Natsuhi. She's merely playing with words, a favorite trick of would-be detectives. Is it of any consequence? How can she possibly use that one statement to corner you? In the court of hell, all of the demon's jurors will declare you innocent. Would declare you innocent. So calm down and don't get flustered. Sure, when you say it like that, it does make Aunt Natsuhi look suspicious, but to me it sounds like you're picking holes in whatever she's saying for the sake of it. But it is suspicious. I think this is more than enough reason to suspect that Natsuhi-ne-san might be hiding something. That accusation is entirely false, and you are not being fair, Eva-san. You yourself can testify that I was in fact here at 11 o'clock.
そうなんですか？
Is that true, Eva-san? Now that you mention it, perhaps it is. I'm sorry. At the time, I was losing my head because the gold had just been found. So I forgot all about meeting Natsuhi-san until a second ago.
エヴァさんが
So, Eva-san, you can confirm that Natsuhi-san was a witness at 11 o'clock? Unfortunately, yes. I can attest part of Natsuhi-san's story, but only the part that she came out of this room.
何が言いたいのですか？
What are you implying? Let me tell you what I am implying. No, what I've wanted to say. No, I've wanted to say this for a long time now. I really did feel like saying this in the middle of such a. I really did feel like saying this in the middle of such a tragic murder case would be improper, but the timing now is too perfect. You know what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, don't you? The servants gulped and held their breaths. It seems that they hadn't been able to hide it after all. In the middle of this heavy silence, Eva fingered her trump card, and Natsuhi pretended to be calm. Both space and time grew as heavy as lead and swallowed up everything.
金蔵さんっていつからいらっしゃられないんですか？
How long has Kinzo-san been gone? Erika's words, spoken almost casually, tore the atmosphere to pieces like shattering glass.
はっきり言うと
Simply put, we haven't seen him once at this family conference this year or last.
そうや。
That's right. We suspected it since last year. Seeing as how my son and the others have just been killed, this may not be the time or place to pursue this. But there's a chance that this has something to do with the crime, so we will do just that. It's possible that you have a motive for hiding father's death. We can suspect that you're embezzling father's assets. If father were to die, an investigation would be conducted for the distribution of the assets, and your embezzlement would be exposed. That's why you've been hiding the fact that father is already dead.
なるほど。
I see.
小間にとは
That's
十分に
more than
言われ
enough for the why done
ま
it.
すますにの
This
三
keeps
人
getting
です
more and more third rate. How boring.
何を言っているのかわかりません。
I don't know what you're talking about. You accuse me of hiding the death of the head?
そんな暴言。
Slander of this nature is absolutely unforgivable.
そうですとも。
That's right. In addition to Madame, the other servants take care of the master on a daily basis, and they see him all the time. Kenji-san, Sanon-chan, and Kankun. Even Dr. Nanjo and Kumasawa-san meet with him often. Perhaps because he doesn't trust me, I haven't seen him once since last year, but... Ci hai provato, Goda. Be quiet, Goda. Doga, stavo per dire. My apologies.
夏日さん以外の
All of the
目撃者は
witnesses
全て
beside
雇用関係にある使用
Natsuhi-san are servants she employs.
金を握らせて口
You
を
pay
合わ
them
せ
to
て
corroborate your story. Oh, this is really third rate.
くだ
What
ら
a
ない
waste of time.
がっかりですよ
I'm
夏日さん
disappointed, Natsuhi-san.
だからもう
I think it's time I concluded this show.
何をですか？
Concluded what?
後ろ宮
Ushiromiya Kinzo-san?
何？
What is it? Uninvited guest.
あなたは
You
存
don't
在していま
exist?
せんね遺産問題で
You're a ghost whose death was concealed by people who didn't want it known due to the inheritance problem. If you're a ghost, you should pass on quickly to the next world, as ghosts are ghosts are meant
初め
to.
てお会いしたのに
Oh, where are my manners? This is the first time we've met, and I've yet to give you a proper greeting.
初めまして
Good day. Pleased to meet you.
そしてさようなら
And goodbye. Beato's pipe stopped mere millimeters from Erika's face, so close that you might just barely. Beato's pipe stopped mere milliliters. Milliliters adesso, madonna, sempre meglio. Beato's pipe stopped mere millimeters from Erika's face, so close that you might just barely have been able to wedge a single sheet of paper between them.
そしてこんにちは
And good day from me.
後ろ宮家顧問
Ushiromiya family alchemist,
黄金のベアトル
Beatrice the
そ
Golden.
なたの剣
I shall be your opponent in
ここ
this
よりは
fight from
我
here
ら
on
が
out.
タイトルを
どうもはじめま
Glad
して
to meet you.
この
I'm the
ゲーム
detective of this game,
古戸
Rudo
エリカです
Erika.
よろしく
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance,
そしてこれから
and soon
さよう
to
なら
bid you farewell.
そなたがエンジェ
So
ル
you're
に
Lady
Erika
Bencastle
Stelvio
next
no
piece
Komare
after Ranger.
たやつとは
I'm afraid I didn't get to fight with her to my satisfaction in the end.
今度こそ手
It
合わせ
pleases me that we can
許す
test wits at
ベ
last.
ルンカステル
Piece
教
of
の
Lady
駒
Bencastle.
我が主は
My master is almighty and all-powerful. A fool like you couldn't even begin to compare with
どう
her.
かよろしくお
I
願いします
accept your challenge.
冷静
You really are calm. Even though a witch has appeared before you and is about to fight with magic and fantasy, if you were butler, you'd be on your knees wailing that this isn't a mystery anymore.
ああミステリ
Well,
ーでも最近
parallel
そういう
words
世
like
界
this
が
are
ポピュラーです
popular even within the mystery genre these
メタ
days.
的な空間
Are you
からアーティ
familiar
スト
with the
に座って
detective
推理
who
を行う
reasons with an armchair in a
あ
matter
な
like
たはご存
space?
知で
時代交渉
Mind your anachronisms. That author doesn't make his debut until next year.
魔女のくせに細かいこと気
You
にします
certainly are picky for a witch.
魔女と
You
対
think
等
of
のつもり
yourself.
か
You think yourself a witch's
う
equal?
ぬぼれるな
Don't be so conceited, you miserable little human. Beato snapped her fingers and something bounced around the room at terrifying speeds. It was the witch's stake, the witch's wedge which contained the power of the blue truth within it. Of course, a mere human like Erika couldn't follow its terrible speed with her eyes. Erika understood this, so she didn't attempt to look at every which way, stupidly trying to spot it.
ノロマが
You slowpoke! Take this! With a terrible sound, Lucifer's blue stake buried itself into Erika's right collarbone. It shot all the way through and out of her back. Spinning as she rebounded off the walls, Lucifer landed in front of Beato and disappeared, laughing shrilly. Erika wasn't blown back. However, the blue wedge was stuck deep into her. So, this is the so-called blue truth. Well then, let me hear your opinion.
23 時
You can't eliminate the possibility that Natsuhi met with Kinzo at 11 p.m.
その
In the 6+ hours between then and the time you all buzzed into the study, Kinzo had every opportunity to escape.
以上に
Because of this, you can't state decisively that
そ
Kinzo
なたに
doesn't
断言は
exist.
できぬ
Beato announced that with an expression worthy of her title as witch. Erika, on the other hand, was silent. Was she too shocked to speak? There was no anguish in her expression. She was just quietly listening to Beato's blue truth. No, judging by her disdainful expression, it would probably be more appropriate to say that Beato's words went in one ear and out of the other.
まず
Good.
は王道です
Begin with the orthodox. By the way, this thing really stuck good.
いけない
It won't come out. She tried pulling it from the front and the back of the blue wedge that pierced her, but it didn't budge an inch. However, her indifferent, relaxed expression didn't budge an inch either.
抜けぬわ
You can't take it
青
out.
き真実
The blue truth can only be broken by the red truth. And as you are the guests who came to this island a day ago at most, there exists no truth that you could possibly know. There is no red truth available to the likes of you. In other words, it's checkmate. I see. This is one of those spaces. In that case, I'll need a piece suitable for fighting a witch. I am the detective. Let it be my role to deal with the human culprit. You are a witch. There is a piece better suited to the role of dealing with witches and demons. Allow me to introduce you, Miss Glanor. It looks like it's your turn. Glanor? I knew it! I was certain you'd bring that piece in sooner or later. The 10 witch hunting wedges, the Archbishop of Witch Hunting, Glanor. There's no more fitting piece for a battle against devils and demons. I have my double, Erika, and the greatest natural enemies of witches, Glanor. I have now taken control of the 7th rank with my 2 rooks. And now you'll entertain me, Lambda Delta, and you too, Beatrice, as I watch you struggle and scramble to no avail. The air shone brightly, and the piece Erika has guided there showed its form. It was a form that resembled a cleric, perfect for confronting an evil witch. Pleased to meet you. Glanor A. Knox is my name. Even though the atmosphere in this space could be cut with a knife, she introduced herself in a neat and frank manner. Her out of place appearance, completely different from those of the demons and witches, felt blatantly odd and had a kind of severity to it. This is the first time I've met you, but I've heard all the rumors. Therefore, this truly doesn't feel like a first meeting. The same goes for me, Miss Beatrice.
あなたについての詳細な資料を600ページにまとめました。それに常に目を通していますので、私も初対面の気がしません。
Gli faccio sentire un po' la sua voce. Eiserne Jungfrau has a detailed file on you, 600 pages long. I always look over those, so this doesn't feel like a first meeting to me either. The Secretary of Hell could summarize those 600 pages in mere 6 letters. Allow me to ask. Danger. That's a good summary. When I get back, out of respect for you, I will close out your file with an additional 2 letters for a total of 8. Executed. So I'm cute now. Flattery will get you nowhere, my guest. Then let us continue. Miss Beatrice, I, Chief Inquisitor Glanor, do humbly accept my role as your opponent. I've already completed my first move. If you can't remove the blue wedge from that Ferudo Erika over there, then you might as well tuck back up to heaven and get back to your usual boring job of stamping things. Take care of this wedge or whatever it is, please. Beatrice-sans seem to think that this is all it takes to achieve checkmate. After making a show of tapping the blue wedge that pierced her with her finger, Erika shrugged as though taunting Beatrice. Beatrice, it's alright. I'm just going to toy with her for a bit. After all, if things get bad, I can take Kinzo's ghost and flee from here whenever I want. I can leave this room at any time and go anywhere.
無駄です。
That is useless.
私に出会ったらそれが終焉です。逃しません。誰も逃げられない。
Encountering me is equivalent to your demise. There will be no escape. No one can evade me. As you say, there's always the possibility that father bolted awake and went off somewhere. But you know what? I can state for certain that such a thing couldn't have happened. And you know why? Of course I don't. Are you saying that you stood outside this door all night, watching to make sure that they didn't take a step outside? Yes, someone was watching. This little guy over here. For your attention, I beg to inform you of the following. Be advised that entering or exiting through this door is impossible. Guards, you are hereby ordered to blockade the study door. The doors to heaven opened with a strong, unrelenting radiance like the sun's, and the Lanon's subordinates appeared. Their words were clad in the red truth and cut off the witch's method of escape. Siesta 410, right here. Siesta 45, right here. It has been some time, great Lady Beatrice. We are dispatched in accordance with Allegiance and Agreement 1516 and requests from the Great Court of Heaven. We apologize for the rudeness that is to follow. We formed a precision blockade on the study door. I think it's best if you stay away from the door. For your attention, I further inform you of the following. From last night at 23 until the present time, the study door was not opened even once. What is that scrap of paper? It's a completely ordinary receipt. But even so, this mere scrap of paper proves that you lie. Last night, when you came out of the study, Eva saw her chance and wedged her seat into the crack of the door to the study. And that fell down just when Rudolf-kun opened the door for us. You know what that means? In other words, from 11 p.m. last night until now, it's impossible that father could have opened this door. What did you say? Rudolf, the window was locked, right? Yeah. That's why I smashed the glass. In other words, the other windows are locked as well. They can't be locked from the outside by construction. For your attention, I beg to inform you of the following. Be advised that the windows were all locked. Guards, blockade all the windows. In the name of Eiserne Jungfrau, the Imperial Guard is hereby permitted to make use of forbidden weapons. Understood, ma'am. All units, clearance granted for use of forbidden weapon, red warheads. Transmit activation code. The password doesn't work. 410. Turn caps lock off and on. Turn caps locks off and try again. Siesta troops, precision blockade for study door and all windows complete. The great Lady Beatrice is hereby warned that if anything is caught passing through this physically, conceptually, or by any other method, we will fire without warning. Data link from 4 Archangel satellites, home informant, verdict mode, conceptual guidance. And on top of that, we've got red warheads. Impossible to shoot down, impossible to avoid, impossible to survive when hit. It will smash even Lady Beatrice into little bits. The Chester troops had laid down a pinpoint blockade all over the door and all of the windows. Escape would no longer be permitted through any of these. My. I should be doing the welcoming, but it seems that I am the one being welcomed. And a courtesy call from the Siesta Sisters in tow, no less. For your attention, I beg to inform you that your paths of retreat have been severed. Supervisor Dlanor, let us remove the sin and purify. Your work is appreciated, Miss Beatrice. I have had your path of retreat terminated. You cannot leave through the door, nor you can leave through the windows. You will find the escape is now impossible. You think you have trapped with... You think you have trapped with... You think you have trapped me with... You think you have me trapped with this alone? The Inquisitor in heaven and her subordinates surrounded the witch. The subordinates used a powerful barrier to cut off Beato's methods of escape. Demons prepare to fight, and as a result, they sometimes allow their victims to escape. However, angels prefer to block off passages of escape, and as a result, they eradicate their targets without fail. In other words, from the time you claim you bid him good night yesterday, until the time Rudolph opened the door, this study was a perfect locked room. In that case, Father's gotta be here. But we haven't seen hide nor hair of him. Come on, what the hell is going on? I keep telling you to calm yourself. The thought that I, Beatrice, could be imprisoned merely because the doors and the windows are closed is simply laughable. Kinzo, I was planning on playing around, but it seems our guest has no such intentions. Let us withdraw before we overstay our welcome. I would not hesitate to give up this life of mine, but for Natsuhi's sake, I cannot die yet. Beato weaved her pipe and the air was split vertically. Then a pitch-black gate appeared there and slowly opened. It was a warp portal, the same as the pitch-black holes that Gap used. In my file, it should have said this. She is an elusive phantom, appearing and disappearing wherever she desires. As long as Kinzo has me, it will be impossible to capture him. The pitch-black gate opened. The gate led from everywhere and led to nowhere. Both Beato and Kinzo would be sent to a place where no one could catch them, a place where no one could set foot, much less chase after them. This is the study of the Ushiromiya family head, and it is also a room that father had a direct hand in designing. Sta dicendo la scusa del passaggio segreto. Don't you agree there would be nothing strange about him having some mechanism for getting outside without using the door? Yes, of course. There would be nothing strange at all about the master having a hidden door. A hidden door? Really? And where would you find one of those? It's a hidden door, so nobody knows. There are several mechanisms and hidden doors in this mansion that only Father knows of. No one has seen them firsthand, but all the people of this mansion know of them in concept, correct? Yes. It's true that there have been always rumors that about hidden passages that only that master knows of. That is the sort of trick that Kinzo-san would love. And they are hidden doors after all. No matter how much people such as ourselves might search, it's only natural that we won't find them. I see. It's a devil's proof. You're saying we can't eliminate the possibility that hidden doors exist in this room? That's nonsense, it's all made up. How dare you stoop to this just because your lie about concealing Father's death is about to be revealed? Done right. Just where in the study is there a hidden door? Go on, try proving it exists. No proof is required. It's a devil's proof. The existence of a hidden door is impossible to discover or disprove. Therefore, no one can eliminate the possibility that Kinzo escaped from this study through a hidden door. I will not allow a hidden door to this room, to exist in this room. Beato's blue wedge, which had been fired off as a farewell gift, was crushed with a flash of Dlanor's long sword, and the pitch-black gate was crushed as well. And it wasn't just crushed visibly and physically. From that moment onwards, the warp portal which conceptualized hidden doors had been destroyed forever. How can someone like you, who is neither the owner of the study nor the game master, use the red truth? And what was that? What do you mean, will not allow hidden doors to exist? It's because that's what defines the mystery. Nox third. It is forbidden for hidden passages to exist. You can't have any hidden doors in the mystery game. I'm terribly sorry. È un'arma di Dark Souls, Luke. In this world, gods other than our god do not exist. And hidden doors do not exist. They must not exist. We will not allow them to exist. They are blasphemy. Arrogance enough to shock a witch. How delightfully preposterous. Here it comes, the 10 wedges to pierce witches. Just like usual, it's the kind of irritation argument that I just love to hear. What a fool. The devil's proof might have been vague enough to let you escape from everything until now. But now you're up against Dlanor. That move won't work anymore, Beatrice. Dice irritation move? Ah, scusami, irrational. Ero preso. Irrational, my bad. Grazie, Jover. Infatti mi suonava strano. Ho detto, boh, magari una mossa irritante che però non ha alcun effetto. Vabbè. Irrational. As I thought, you're no different from any ordinary witch. I am disappointed. Beato. It seems, after all, that this is not an opponent who will allow us an easy escape. Please, do entertain me, Beatrice-san. You should at least serve some tea for your guests. It doesn't even matter if it's third rate. How did Kinzo-san escape from this locked room study? Educate me with your blue truth.
よかろう
Very well.
ほいづらかくでないぞ
Make sure you don't regret it.
金蔵が扉より抜け出した後レシートの
It's
仕掛けに
possible
気づ
that
き
after
元の場所
slipping
に
out of the
正確
door,
に戻した
Kinzo
可能
noticed
性
the
がある
trick with the receipt and correctly returned it to its original place.
すでに赤で否定済みです。
That possibility has already been eliminated in red.
書斎扉は
After
23
23,
一度たりとも開かれていません。
after 23, the door to the study was not opened even once.
金蔵は希代の魔術師
Kinzo might have been a marvelous mage and an inventor.
体を切り
He
裂く
might have
薬を発
invented a
明して
concoction
鍵穴
to
から抜
turn
け出
his
したの
body
かも
into
しれない
mist and slip out through the keyhole.
そのような薬は
No
存在
such
しません。
substance exists.
存在してはいけ
It
ませ
must
ん。
not exist.
あるいは
Maybe he invented a teleportation device. That possibility is impossible to eliminate because of the devil's proof.
そのような機械も存在
Such
し
a
ません。
machine does not exist.
存在することも許しま
I
せ
will
ん。
not permit it to exist.
この世の全ての薬物
Oh, so you can examine every chemical substance in the world?
未知の化学
You
装置
can
の
rule
存
out the
在を否定
existence of
できるの
unknown scientific
で
devices?
きるわけが
There's
ない
no way you
それが悪魔
can.
の証
It's a
明
devil's proof.
そなたにその
You
存在
cannot
を否定できる
rule
のだ
out their existence.
繰り返します。
I will repeat.
神の名において
In the name
その
of
ような
God,
薬
I
も
will
機械
not
も
permit
存在さ
such
せません。
chemicals or devices to exist.
未来永劫存在す
From
ること
now
も
until
許
the
し
end
ま
of
せん。
time, I will not permit them to exist.
未来とな
Even in the future? Oh, so you think you can even deny the possible futures of the human
否定してみ
race?
せるというのか
ノックス第4条で
It's
す。
Nox's fourth commandment.
未知の薬物
It's forbidden for unknown drugs or obscure scientific devices to be used.
人類の進化と
The progression of humanity and the techniques and knowledge that the future might bring are for God to decide,
そしてその存在
and
の
their
否定を
existence
永
have
遠
been
に宣告され
declared
ました。
forever denied.
よって未来に
Therefore, from now until the end of time, I will not allow for such technologies to exist. It is not permitted. Beato and Lanor had just gone through a massive exchange of red and blue. However, not only had Lanor not taken any damage, she also showed no signs of fatigue. Beato might have been a fearsome witch, but blood flowed through her veins and she did breathe, and she felt both pain and fatigue. But Lanor was like a doll made of marble. She felt no fatigue, no pain, no hesitation. If even Beato's sharp wedges had aimed right at Lanor's eyes, she wouldn't even have shut them. No, it was doubtful whether she even blinked in the first place. She ever even blinked in the first place. But Beatrice, hang in there.
噂には聞いた
I heard the rumors, but she really is the worst matchup for me.
夢も希望も
To think that dreams, hopes, and even future possibilities are
神
forbidden.
々の
The
ご恩を
arrogance of the
恐れ
gods is overwhelming.
さすが
I'd expect
魔女
no
が
less from a witch hunt executioner.
生涯酒を
It
酌み交わす
seems
ことは
we'll
叶
be
い
able
そう
to
にない
drink. We'll never be able to drink together. Even the strikes which had defeated Butler over and over had absolutely no effect on Lanor. She had expected that already, more or less, but she hadn't expected to be repelled so easily.
無敵だな
Quite a formidable opponent.
おやお
Oh
や
my, so even the great goldsmith had gotten old and decrepit.
そなたの口からその
Hearing
ような
those
言葉が出てくるな
words
ど
come out of your mouth is rarer than seeing two comets in the night sky.
老いぼれと
I'm not decrepit.
とうにし
I'm already dead.
そうであった
That's
すまん
true.
が
Sorry, but I won't let you be for just a little longer. Beato experienced something she'd only rarely felt during her entire life. It was probably what we'd call hardship. As Natsuhi tried to comfort her, Beato quickly brushed aside her hand, and she regained her posture again, showing off her witch's pride and her continued readiness to fight.
それで終わりですか？
Is that all?
私が出向くまでもなか
There
っ
was
た。
no need for me to be present.
失望です。
I am disappointed.
まだである。
I'm not done yet.
今の
I
は
was
ほんの
just
こと
testing a
す
few
ら
moves just now.
そなたの
I
手の
was
内を
only
探
trying
った
to
に
measure
過ぎぬ。
your abilities.
意図愚かなりや身の程を知りたまえ黄金の魔女
It is foolish in the extreme. Know your place, Golden Witch.
ベアトリーチェ卿
Lady Beatrice. Beato's expression became tense once again. No longer was there any trace of mischief. The mood changed.
もはや遊びの時間
The
は
time
終
for
わり。
playing is over.
行くぞ。
Here I go.
ならば
In that case, I shall acknowledge that Kinzo did not enter or leave the
そ
study.
なたの密室を受け
Why
入れよ
don't
うで
I
は。
accept your locked room?
金系ベアト
For
リー
your
チェは攻
attention,
撃法を
I
変
beg
更
to
した
inform you that
申し上
Beatrice
げ
has
立てません
changed her pattern of attack. Beatrice, who had until then thoroughly resisted the idea that a locked room existed, did an about face. She declared that she would accept that proposition. Of course, this didn't mean that she surrendered. This was a new attack of Beato's. Lanor noticed this and readied herself.
どういうこと？
What's going on?
密室を破ろうと
Why
し
did
てる
Lady
の？
Beatrice acknowledge the locked room when she's trying to destroy it? Yeah. She's probably going to claim that Kinzo existed outside of this room.
大ベアトリーチェ卿の
Reactivation of Great Lady Beatrice's warp portal confirmed.
ナツヒは
Natsuhi claimed to have talked with Kinzo in the study, but she never said that she spoke with him face to face.
すなわち
Therefore, if Kinzo was in a location other than the study, there is no contradiction as long as they held a conversation. Hanno parlato su Discord, sì. Ha fatto kitten, ovviamente Natsuhi e la kitten. After bouncing at an erratic angle, the witch's stake pierced the top of Lanor's foot.
トロイは
You sure are slow. Top of the foot, all mine.
ナツヒはこの書斎
Natsuhi used the internal phone line in this study to speak with Kinzo, who was in another place.
親族たちを嫌う
There's nothing strange about Kinzo, who hates his relatives, predicting that they would enter his study and leaving to go somewhere.
おそらく
He might have gone to the hidden mansion,
クワドリアン
Quadorian.
かもしれぬぞ
The power of Beato's blue truth began to dwell in the stake of Asmodeus, piercing the top of Lanor's foot, changing the stake into a blue wedge.
うまい。
Not bad, that makes sense. Yeah.
青く信じ
Blue truth,
有効であ
valid.
ります
A cyclone of gold butterflies swept up Beato and at its center. The magical power of the pitch-black gate had been smashed once more again refilled. If she could hold Lanor's off here somehow, this time she would be able to warp Kinzo out of the study all the way to Quadorian. Lanor moved clumsily, trying to pull the blue wedge out of her foot, but he didn't even budge. Of course, Beato didn't miss this chance. No witch would.
さらに行くぞ
I have more, so prepare yourself.
ナツヒの言う金蔵
There's a chance that Kinzo mentioned by Natsuhi does not refer to the person
ナツ
himself.
ヒの言う金
The
蔵
Kinzo spoken of by Natsuhi might have been another name for this
金
room.
蔵は
Kinzo had taken refuge in the Quadorian and was impossible to
ナ
contact.
ツヒはこの部屋を
Perhaps Natsuhi called this room Father, and by contemplating inside of it, she felt as though she had received some sort of revelation from Kinzo.
動きを止めたわね。
We've stopped you from moving. You've already lost. The elves of a blue wedge pierced the base of Lanor's neck. Of course, even this didn't cause her to flinch, but her movements were restricted even further.
面白い。それ
Interesting.
で終わりです。
Is that all? You don't call it a full course dinner if you stop at 2 soups and hors d'oeuvres. I'll hit you with the main dish and dessert once, so watch your stomach explode and die. Even if, as you say, this is a locked room and impossible to escape from, you can't deny the possibility that he is still hiding in this room. I'm not talking about the hidden door. He might be under the bed or above the ceiling. He might be hiding in such a subtle blind spot that even a demon would not recognize it. Or it might be that Natsuhi, ordered by Kinzo to act as his proxy, considered herself both his representative and another Kinzo. In other words, it's possible that Natsuhi was also Kinzo. I've got plenty more. At 11 o'clock last night, Kinzo escaped out of the window, Natsuhi watched him go and then locked the window. This doesn't lead to any problems. In fact, it might be the most beautiful blue truth yet. Che è proprio Butler in questo momento. How's that, Dall'autore Nox? There are any numbers of ways to escape from this locked room. Know your foolishness in trying to oppose my master. There is no need for you to argue back. Just suffer defeat here and sleep for all eternity. The 7 sisters appeared from Beato's golden tornado, and one after another, they all pierced Dall'autore with blue wedges. The 4 blue wedges were buried into her neck, her chest, her gut, and her thigh. Including the one buried on the top of her foot, she had been cushioned by 5 stakes. What about my turn? I'll use you if I think of any more. Be quiet for now. How's that? How's that, Dall'autore the witch hunter? After skewering so many witches in the past and burning them at the stake, how does it feel to have the table turned and be skewered by a witch? They were all ridiculous arguments, but they came fiercely one after another. Though a total of 5 wedges pierced Dall'autore, her expression didn't change in the slightest. However, her movements had indeed been limited. Witches are sure scary, yeah? You can't beat twisted logic, yeah? They don't violate the Nox Decalogue. They're all valid. Well done, Beatrice. Even if there was no one in the study, or even if it was a locked room, that alone isn't enough to deny father's existence. Against a normal opponent, I think the matter's settled by now. But this is Dall'autore, Chief Inquisitor. The ruthless woman even killed her father when he violated the 10 Commandments. Kinzo, now! Now that Dall'autore had been pinned down, this was their last chance to recover their magical power and escape. Once again, a pitch-black gate began to rise slowly in front of Beato and Kinzo. Though the gate had once been opened by simply drawing in the air, it wasn't so easy in the study now, feel as it was with the power of denial. Do you see now, everyone? No matter how much you question the state of the study, the truth of Father's good health remains unshakable. Oh, very bold words. I suggest you don't forget that you and I are both also a part of this battle. I cannot fight against witches, but I can fight against you. Erika grinned at Natsuhi with a smile more demonic than a real demon. Natsuhi-san, let me ask you again. Are you sure that last night you spoke with Ushiromi Kinzo in this room? Yes, I have said repeatedly that I have reported the day's events to him and bid him good night. This may be strange to ask, but since it's needed to prove your innocence, please answer me straightforwardly. Is this Kinzo-san you speak of the same Ushiromi Kinzo-san we are all thinking of? Isn't it a different person or a thing with the same name, is it? I'm not really sure what you mean. It's like this. You didn't, for instance, start calling this room itself Father, or after Father's death, right? That's what she's asking. You said you gave a report on the day's events to Father before bed, right? That doesn't mean you were here alone, delivering your report directly to the wall of the study and addressing it as Father, does it? How rude. Nothing of the sort happened. Father is Father. He is in good health. And I most certainly gave him a report and said good night to him in this room last night. I'm not trying to trick you or talk my way out of anything. I see. In that case, can you repeat what I tell you? If you aren't tricking or deceiving us in any way, you should be able to repeat my words. Fine. I'll repeat whatever you want. Repetition requested. Ushiromi and Natsuhi, at 11 o'clock last night, spoke with Ushiromi Kinzo in this room, where he was also present. I, Ushiromi Natsuhi, at 11 o'clock last night, spoke with Ushiromi Kinzo in this room, where he was also present. Good. Then I'll ask one last thing. Seriously now, Natsuhi-san. You didn't do anything such as throwing Kinzo-san out of the window after your conversation and locking the window behind him, I presume? Because everything still makes sense if you did. Why would I send Father out through the window? This is intolerable. This mockery is intolerable. For your attention, I beg to inform you of the following. The Kinzo Natsuhi mentioned refers to nothing other than Ushiromi Kinzo. For your attention, I beg to inform you of the following. Natsuhi claims that she was face-to-face with Kinzo in the study at 11 p.m. Natsuhi let out a cry, but it was too late. She had completely risen to her provocation. The blue wedge to the foot representing a telephone discussion. The blue wedge to the neck representing the study itself being called Kinzo. The blue wedge in the gut representing Natsuhi herself being called Kinzo. The blue wedge to the tire representing Natsuhi letting Kinzo escape out of the window and locking it afterwards. The four of them shattered with the sound of thin glass, because Natsuhi, the one who knew the truth, had denied them. Those denials had gained the power of the red truth. Despite Kinzo's absence from this locked room, Beato had introduced 5 ways that Kinzo could exist. Natsuhi had carelessly destroyed the premise behind 4 of those herself. Only 1 wedge remained. In other words, this was the last blue truth which could bury the contradiction of Kinzo existing in the study at 11 o'clock, but not existing there later after he had become a locked room. There was only the theory that pierced Lanor's chest. Kinzo is hiding somewhere in this room. With this theory, even if Kinzo wasn't present in this locked room of the study, he could exist here. If this wedge of Satan's were to be crushed, their chances of escaping this room would become hopelessly dim. Quickly! Escape while you still can! Lanor slowly grasped at the final wedge, which still pierced her chest. Her vice-like grip seemed to be causing Satan immense pain, as though all the bones in her body were being broken.
残るくさびは
All that
この一
remains,
本だけです。
all that remains is this one wedge.
この部屋のどこかに
It was about
金属
Kinzo
が隠れている
hiding somewhere in this room. Correct.
その全てを
I am the detective, and I have searched everywhere. Even if I hadn't found them, just where do you think where do you... If even I haven't found him, just where do you suggest he is hiding? With the final wedge sticking out of her chest, Lanor slowly approached Beato. If this wedge was taken out, then
お聞きします。
allow me to
一
ask,
体金蔵がこの
just
書
where
斎のどこ
in
に
this
隠れてい
study
る
is Kinzo hiding?
さあ
Who knows?
ベッドの下かもしれ
Maybe
ない
he's under the bed?
探索済みです。
That possibility was searched and voided.
バスタブの中か
Maybe
も
he's in the bathtub.
探索済みです。
Searched and voided.
クローゼット
Inside the closet, under the desk, behind the curtains.
探索済みです。
Searched and voided. Voided.
済みです。
Voided. Behind the bookshelves, behind the closets, under the carpet, under the floor, above the ceiling, behind the wallpaper, inside the sofa, inside the chair, inside the bed, inside the blankets, inside the walls, inside the rock, inside the stone, inside the room.
済みです。済みです。済みです。済み済み済みですですです。済み済み済み済み済み済み済み済みですですですですですですですです。Die the death. Sentence to death. Great equalizer is the death.
No locations would work against Lanor by this point. Lanor took Beato's final desperate onslaught head on, turning everything back with a far stronger power of denial. Smack them down, beat them down with overwhelming force. No longer is there any place in this study for Kinzo to escape to. Beato was blown back like a leaf dancing in the wind, knocked around over and over again like an empty can lying on the road. By now, no matter how many times Beato used the blue truth, he wouldn't be able to defeat Lanor's red truth. You witches are truly pitiful beings. You just try to talk your way out of things endlessly in an attempt to cover up the truth. Let me borrow Lanor's words. I'm disappointed, Beatrice-san. Erika coldly delivered those decisive words to Beato, who was crawling on the ground. Detective authority. The detective has the right to inspect all crime scenes, and I have exercised that right. Therefore, I can say this. Kinzo-san is not inside this room. Furthermore, this room is a perfect locked room. From the above 2 points, I can state this fact. This room has been uninhabited all along. Natsuhi-san was lying about having met Kinzo-san here last night. And that is checkmate, Beatrice-san.
いかがです
What do you think of
た
that?
だこの部屋が
All
存
it
在する
takes
だけ
is the presence of this
フル
room.
ドエリカ
And
が
a deduction like this becomes trivial to Frudo Erika.
いかがでしょうか
Your
皆様
thoughts,
方
ladies and gentlemen. At these words, the final wedge shattered, and at the same time the pitch-black gate which was about to open shattered once again. This time the warp portal had been completely destroyed. No longer would Kinzo be permitted to exist in this room or escape from it. Beato struggled to her feet, but that was the best she could do. She no longer had the energy to fight. She had taken all of the dying red head-on from close range. It was all she could do to withstand the pain, which was so strong it felt like she would vomit up all over her insides. Even Beato, who had held a monopoly on the title of strongest and most evil witch of all time, couldn't do anything against a witch hunter. No matter how sturdy a sandcastle you build on the beach, it can never win against the rising tide. Sorry, Kinzo.
やっぱ
She really is too tough for me.
ベアトリーチ感謝するぞ
I thank you.
恨み残り
You
し
fought
私の
so
ため
hard for me
よくぞ
despite
こ
your
こまで戦ってく
lingering
れ
grudge.
た
四季を悟ると
Yes,
走
I
馬
guess
灯
it's
が
true
見える
that
って
your
のは
life flashed before your eyes
本当らしい
when you
な
see death coming.
そなたの若かり
I've
し日
remembered
の
how you once looked when you
思
were
い出し
young.
てしまったぞ腹が立つく
You
らい
were annoyingly like
バトラ
Butler.
に似ておったな
私の魂もそして当主の資格も今やすべてバトラが受け継いでおるわ
Butler is now carrying on everything, including my soul and the right to lead the
も
family.
はや何の
I
無
no
念も
longer
な
have
し
any regrets.
バトラ
Butler,
すまぬ
my
そなたと
apologies. Though I
再び
swore to
戦おうと
fight
誓いながら
with you once again,
この程度で
I
手
must
強い
settle my accounts with something like this. How pitiful. To Beato, it seemed as though Butler had met her gaze. There was no way he could have. This Butler was the Peace Butler. There was no way he could see Beato in this higher level world. However, his eyes really did meet hers. Even though they couldn't have, Beato was sure they did. As Erika, Eva and the other closed in on Natsuhi, questioning her over and over, only Butler stood apart from that tumult. His expression held none of the enthusiasm and excitement that the others humans had. It just piercingly and coldly surveyed the scene, and the expression on his face was a quiet displeasure, anger. He wasn't feeling compassion for Natsuhi because her lie was about to be exposed. However, he couldn't forgive Erika, who was simply enjoying the intellectual rape of cornering Natsuhi, or any of the people going along with her. Then he whispered softly,
ダメだな
"No good." Beato and the others definitely heard that.
バトラは
Did-
まさか
You don't think Butler
この
might
劣勢をひっ
turn
くり
things
返せる
around
という
from this weakened position?
ありし日の
I
私
probably
なら
could have done
で
it
きただろう
back in my day.
そして
And
バ
Butler
トラ
can
なら
probably
でき
do
る
it.
であろうぞ
バトラ
Butler,
バトラ
Butler,
私より
if
全て
you
を
are
受け
indeed the
継ぐ
man who
その
will
男である
inherit
ならば
everything from me,
今こそ
now
その
is the
証を
time
示
to
す
prove it.
黄金の
Don't
魔
let
女
the
伝
legend
説
of the
はこんな
Golden
ところで
Witch
終わらせ
end
るわ
here.
私は昨夜
It's true that I met father here last night.
確かにです
It's true. And he spoke to me of the Ushirami family glorious history, as well as the burden of bearing it.
もうその嘘は
Your
暴かれてい
lie
るんです
has already been exposed, Natsuhi-san.
あなたが昨夜
We
一
already
人でこ
know
の部屋に
that
い
you
たこ
were
とは
alone
も
in
う
this
分
room
かっ
last
てたんで
night.
すそろそろ諦め
You
て
would please give
告白に入っても
Would
ら
you
えません
please
か
give this up now and launch into your
犯
confession?
人の往生際
The
の悪
culprit
さと
refuses to
ミステリーの
capitulate
出
is
来の悪さを
proportional to the
比例
poor
するんです
quality of the mystery.
最後くらい
At least show me that this third-rate mystery has some redeeming qualities in the end.
ああ、ダメだ
Yeah,
な。
it's no good.
全然ダメだぜ。
全然ダメだぜ. Butler, who had been silent off by himself up until now, finally spoke. At first it sounded as though he was attacking Natsuhi. However, when Erika realized that he was glaring directly at her, her expression visibly clouded with displeasure.
何が
Exactly what is no good?
ミステリーが三流なら
If the mystery is third rate, then so is the detective. Listen up.
俺がじい様にな
I'll be grandfather for you.
バトル
Butler?
あなたが
You'll be
金蔵
Kinzo-san?
まさか
Are you saying you'll become Kinzo-san to reenact the disappearance from this
見せ
room?
ようって言うんですかまさか
You can't
私
possibly
のチェックメイトを
intend
否
on
定され
denying
る
my
というつもり
checkmate?
でバカな
That's ridiculous.
この男は何を
What is this man saying?
新しく来たお嬢さん
Hey, new
この
girls.
ゲームは初めて
Is this your first game here?
だ。悪いが
Sorry, but calling checkmate after something like that is no good. Yeah,
本当にダメだな。
it's no goddamn good at all.
どう
What
い
are
う
you
ことだ
talking about, Butler?
お前が
You're going to be bad?
ああ
Yeah,
再現してやる。
I'll reenact
俺
it.
がじい様にな
I'll
る。
become grandfather and
この
disappear
部屋
from
が
this
消え
room.
去ってやる。扉も窓も
You can't use the windows or the door. How are you gonna do it?
隠し扉の場所が分かっ
Did
た
you
んですか
find where the hidden door is?
私たちにはさっぱり
You don't have a clue. We don't have a clue. Yes, not a clue. Rustle. That sound wasn't just the noise of the onlooker fidgeting. It was a provocative chill that ran up Erika's spine.
気に入りました
I like it.
そうですね
Yes. You are, after all, the Ushiramiya family head, the one who bears the head's ring.
金蔵さんの代役を
That should be
務め
more
る資格
than
は十分ある
that
でしょ
should more than qualify you to stand in for
見
Kinzo-san.
せてもらおうじゃ
So
ないですか
let's hear your deduction. Erika's expression was no longer a challenging smile. It was malicious, extremely displeased. She couldn't conceal her anger at having her most pleasurable moment ruined.
どうやっ
How
て
how will he get out of us? Get us out of here?
読めた
I've got it.
なる
I see.
その手が
I see. So that move is still available.
今頃気づいた
You
か
finally figured it out, you damn geezer.
隠し扉だのベッドの
Hidden
下に
doors
隠
and
れたのは
hiding under the bed.
情けない
All that stuff is so pathetic. I was almost weeping for you.
俺たちは天下
This is
御免の
the
後ろに
Ushiramiya
金
Kinzo
蔵
we
の
are
話を
talking about here.
少し
There's got to be a more thrilling and exciting answer. Oh, exactly. How pitiful that I couldn't even match my own ingenuity. And how pitiful that with all of these relatives of mine present, the only one to understand me is the grandson who's returned after 6 years of absence.
情けないバトラー私の代役である
Butler, you are acting my proxy.
無様な
Do
真似は
not
見せる
disgrace my legacy.
おうじじい
Sure thing, Gramps.
後ろ宮家当主の
I'll
貫禄っ
teach
てや
these
つを
guests what the majesty of the Ushiramiya family head is all about.
何をなさるおつもりです
What are you planning to do, father?
ナツヒベアトリーチ見ているがいい後ろ宮家当主とはどういうものか教えてやる
Natsuhi, Beatrice, stand by and watch. We'll show you what it means to be the head of the Ushiramiya family.
バトラー何をしてみせるつもりなの
The butler. What is he trying to prove?
何もできるわけがないです
There's no way he can do
この
anything.
部屋は
This is a
完全な
perfect
密室
locked
なんで
room.
すから
夏彦さん
Aunt
こっちへ
Natsui,
来てくれ
come over
そして
here.
今から話す
I'll
通
tell
りに
you
動い
how I want you to move. Butler called Natsuhi over to the window and whispered something to her with his back turned towards the others.
ミス・ドラノール
Miss
万
Lanor,
が一はありませ
there
ん
isn't a remote chance of a mistake,
こ
is
の部
there?
屋から金蔵と魔
It
女を
is
取り逃がす
impossible for
ことは
Kinzo and the witch to
ありえません。
sleep out of this room, correct?
無論です
Of course.
ガートルードコーネリ
Gertrude,
ア
Cornelia,
そしてエシタ
and Imperial
密
Guard
室の封印
double
が
check
完璧か
that the seal of this locked room is perfect. For your attention, I beg to inform you of the following. Our barrier is perfect. For your attention, there are no hidden doors, and escape will not be granted through the door or the windows. Guards, if Butler breaks through the barrier, fire your arrows without hesitation. Siesta troops. Roger. Butler-sama. Prepare yourself. Escaping from this room is impossible. But he'll do it. How? He's certain he can succeed even without any basis. That's what it means to be the Ushiromiya head. True. Let's watch. Yeah. Let's see the majesty of Riche's opponent. Non l'hanno detto in rosso. Then, I'll begin. Everyone nodded and watched Battler every move. So, I'm grandfather. I was lying in bed like this, granting my understanding of Aunt Natsuhi's report of whatever. Butler lay down on the bed himself. As if it still mattered now, Erika grumbled about disturbing the crime scene, but no one listened to her. Then, I stop answering and fall asleep. Well, realistically speaking, I probably get tired of all that talking and only pretend to be asleep. You know me too well. I see that father has gone to sleep. I bow silently and leave. Natsuhi lowered her head to Butler, who was still lying down in the bed, and turned around. Then she stared, wandering around, as though doing an inspection of the room. After seeing grandfather go to sleep, Aunt Natsuhi apparently performs an inspection of the room before leaving. Of course, she has Shannon-chan and the others clean it every day, but she still checked it thoroughly herself, making sure that there was no dust piling up, making sure that he hadn't run out of any consumables. Yes, this is the family head's treasured room, so I check everything carefully myself instead of relying entirely on the servants. I do this every single time. That's true, but Anne always checks things very carefully. Her inspection is very detailed, and she even checks all of the consumables in the washroom one by one. In other words, it's not just dust on the windowsill like you see all the time on TV. She even checks to see if there's enough soap and toilet paper in the washroom. Pretty devoted, if you ask me. It wouldn't kill you to skip a day from time to time. That is my routine. I mustn't become complacent in my inspection of the head's room for even a single day. What is your point? Please don't waste our time putting on airs. Isn't putting on airs the detectives, right? I am the detective. Since we're inside the study, you can probably tell, but even though we call it a study, it wouldn't be wrong to call it a second house inside the mansion. It has a sleeping room, a study, a washroom, and even a toilet and a bath. So it's not much of a room, as it is a house. Thank you for explaining the study's layout. However, the move of having me hide somewhere within it has already been defeated. There won't be any hiding. But I'm sure there are plenty of blind spots. For example, if Aunt Natsuhi went to the bathroom to check the amount of toilet paper, most of the study would be out of her sight range. In other words, for almost every location in the study, the observer would have disappeared. Observer disappearance! We've lost track of Kinzo! For your attention, I beg to inform you that the witch's darkness is filling the study. Good. It's been filled with the power of darkness. So, what if the observer, if Natsuhi left? So what? When grandfather noticed that fussy Aunt Natsuhi finally leaving, he got up. Why? On a night of madness such as this, nothing gets better with a drink than enjoying the mad weather of the night sky. Because Aunt Natsuhi was in the blind spot of the bathroom, it becomes possible for grandfather to walk about the study at will. It was possible for him to move without Natsuhi's knowledge. It was possible for him to move without contradicting what Natsuhi knew. Warning! Butler is approaching the study door! For your attention, a loud noise is produced when the lock of the study door is released. Know that you cannot leave through the door without drawing Natsuhi's suspicion. Because Butler acted as though he was heading for the door, Gertrude, who was sealing the door, immediately issued a warning. Maybe it was possible for him to leave the study while Natsuhi is in a blind spot. However, that's right, the sound. We know there's a loud sound when the auto-lock's released. Even if Natsuhi was in a blind spot inside the study, she wouldn't have missed the loud noise of the auto-lock releasing. There's no way she wouldn't find that odd. For your attention, I beg to inform you that Natsuhi did not hear the sound of the door opening while in the room. The washroom and the toilet are very close to the door. Even if they hadn't been there, the autolock always sets off such a massive sound. She'd be able to hear it that sound no matter what. Natsuhi had already spoken with Erika and the others about the details of the previous night, and she had made it quite clear that nothing out of the ordinary had occurred. The argument that Natsuhi could have failed to hear the lock would not work. For your attention, I further inform you of the following. Hints of entering or exiting through the door will not be permitted. For your attention, I beg to inform you that this is a useless struggle. It is foolish in the extreme. It's true that I can break through the red of that girl by the door. But what about you over there by the window? Turning his back to Gertrude, who claimed that leaving through the door was impossible, Butler locked his gaze on Cornelia, who stood in front of the window. Make sure you hold that barrier of yours up tight, or else you're gonna be sent flying. By now, Butler's target was clear. It was Cornelia, and it was the window. He was going to smash this locked room from the window. Not expecting to be chosen as the target herself, Cornelia was overawed for just a second, but she quickly regained her composure. Although it was rare, it happened sometimes that a witch struggling to flee would directly target the one setting up the barriers. And it was always the witch's last futile resistance at the brink of death. For your attention, I beg to inform you of the following. Butler's target is you, Cornelia. I ask you to be on your guard. It is foolish in the extreme. God have pity on this foolish lamb. I'm no lamb. The head of the Ushiramiya family is an eagle, even if he only has one wing. You don't think you can keep me shut in this study forever with just a flimsy window like that? Starting from a low posture, both silent and supple, Butler ran forwards like a white leopard. The sky couldn't possibly mean to. This is... For your attention, there is no way to defeat my red. Know that your wish will not be granted. Cornelia thrust both of her arms and drew a sign. When she did, a red barrier blocked the way ahead of Butler. I beg to inform you that this is useless, Ushiramiya Butler. For your attention, my windows are sealed from the inside and Natsuhi did not help Kinzo to escape. I'm not saying that Aunt Natsuhi helped grandfather escape. What if grandfather snuck out, keeping it a secret from Aunt Natsuhi? Why would Kinzo go out of the window on his own? Out on this night of madness, leaping out into the rainy sky. Is but a leisure activity to pair with my drink. But this is the 3rd floor, it's impossible. Even you must occasionally jump to the bottom step when going down a flight of stairs, right? 3 stories is nothing for Kinzo. I wouldn't put it past them. Yes, I wouldn't put it past them. That's ridiculous. Blue cracks appeared in Cornelia's red barrier, and it shattered with a crisp sound. It was all far too quick, but it almost looked as though she'd gotten out of the way, herself in fear of Beatrice. Endless 9? Magic resistance is Endless 9! Cornelia-sama, you can't block it! Retreat! At the same time the barrier shattered, the window behind Cornelia's back was flung open. The curtains fluttered for just an instant. Though it was all filled with rain, the heavens and the courtyard were spread out in front of them. A fitting exit for an eagle leaping from this locked room. Cornelia, reapply the barrier. As you wish, Supervisor Glanor. Knowing that you will not succeed in breaching this window. Cornelia quickly came back to her senses and set up another red barrier. However, this was the last one. For your attention, I beg to state the following. Let us temporarily assume that Kinzo did escape through the window. In that case, how did he lock a window which cannot be locked from the outside? The window was locked from the inside. No good. Yes, it's no goddamn good at all. Kinzo and Butler grinned. She thought this feeble red could block the charge of Butler and Kinzo, the 2 family heads. After grandfather jumped out of the window, Aunt Natsuhi probably noticed a slight draft. She then approached the window, realized that it was wide open, and quickly closed and locked it. Natsuhi probably couldn't even imagine that I had slipped out of the window. Yeah, so it was only natural that Aunt Natsuhi thought grandfather was sleeping in bed. Now that Butler had found the answer, the red barrier was more fragile than thin glass. The red magical wall of certainty had been smashed again, so easily that it disgraced the name of certainty itself. Could it be believed? The barrier was more firm than any shield Renova had ever used against Jessica, and yet it had been destroyed so easily. Though Butler was charging furiously forward and had almost reached Cornelia, she didn't step aside. A still spirit worthy of the name Eiserne Jungfrau didn't allow her to step aside. She took a talisman from her pocket, placed it in thin air and drew a sign. Then, not red but blue burned there. Though it was not more frail than the red barrier, it was her last method of resistance. You won't get through. You won't. For your attention, for your attention. Be that as it may, this is the 3rd floor. How could a wingless human escape from the window? Know that you won't get through. You won't. Just quit your whining and watch. Butler flew. He burst through Cornelia's blue barrier, smashing it away, and his body flew out of the window into the darkness of the rainy sky. The fragments of blue barrier scattered, leaving blue dust in their wake, coloring the air beautifully. The locked room had been smashed open. Butler had jumped off from the mansion. He was in the sky above the rainy courtyard. All of the raindrops had become small round gems that were scattered through the air. Butler was floating through the jewelry box world of this beautiful stormy sky, filled with the countless raindrops gems. In the sky of a world frozen in time, Danor and Butler faced each other. If Butler, who had smashed and flown out of the window, was like a knight leaping off a white horse, then Dlanor, who floated in the air waiting for him, was also a knight. In the air above the courtyard, surrounded by the Ushiromiya mansion and frozen in time, the true new head of the Ushiromiya family and the disciple of heaven who would test him crossed paths. Brilliantly done. Whether you live or die when you fall into the courtyard, it does not change the fact that Kinzo could have broken out of this locked room. You are a true martyr, giving up your life to jump. You did well to break our locked room barrier. I am impressed, Ushiromiya Butler. However, I am Dlanor Einox, Chief Inquisitor. I cannot allow you to escape out from under my nose. Now at the end, allow me the honor of crossing swords with you. Sure, bring it on. This game isn't as easy as it looks. In this world where the gems of rain fell slowly like large snowflakes on a snowy field, Dlanor and Butler slowly crossed paths. It seemed slow, and yet it happened in a flash. Their gazes crossed and clashed like lightning. When night confronts night, it is always head-on and decided in a single strike. Blue and red crossed paths. Was the existence of Natsuhi's blind spot within the study depicted beforehand? If it was not, the theory is impermissible. Nox 8th. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not presented. Dlanor double strike with both the blue and red blades sliced at Butler and missed. Those long swords, which had never lost in 100 battles, cut through the empty air. When we entered the study, its structure was mentioned clearly. Sorry, little miss. For the first time, Dlanor showed an expression. It was a soft smile. She had known since long ago that the study structure had been mentioned, but she couldn't let him escape without making a single strike. As an inquisitor, she could not do that. So, though she had known that she wouldn't make it, she had still crossed swords with Butler. Yes, I knew. That answer of yours doesn't violate Nox 8th commandment. Don't hold this against me. I hope you're ready. Yes, come. In Butler's hand was a blade that shone red, the blade etched out of the red truth. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that Kinzo's study was a small villa he had created inside the mansion. A study, a book archive, a place to sleep, a bathroom and a washroom. It was divided into multiple rooms. It was already presented, and it suggests that the room-sized blind spot can exist within the study. Without any mercy, no, without any reluctance, that would have been dishonorable. The sword of the red truth cut into Dlanor. Its sharp trailed the countless gem drops filling the sky. Its sharp tail cut the countless gem drops filling the sky into beautiful hemispheres.
見事です
Brilliant work. Time exploded into life. Both of them fell through the courtyard. One drifted down, the other tumbled through the air. Then there was a soft sound and a dull thud. The first was the sound of Butler landing gently in the courtyard. The second was the sound of Lanor crashing down. After crouching down for a while, Butler firmly stood up. Though he had jumped from the third floor, he landed as lightly as though he had merely jumped over a fence. Beato leaned out of the study window, looking to see if the supposed wingless Butler had landed safely. Beato, come on, jump! That window is our way out. So jump! You aren't that kind of witch who let herself be trapped inside a locked room. The study was no longer a locked room. She could jump from here, escape from here. The locked room which had threatened to capture the witch and suffocate her had now been destroyed. You too, Kinzo. Go. From the moment Butler showed his answer, my spirit has already escaped from this room. Kinzo's form became a group of gold butterflies and disappeared. The locked room barrier had been dissolved, and the power of the witch the power which denies magic has scattered. Beato ran towards the window. That was the only exit from the locked room of this witch hunt. After glancing at the Inquisitors and the Chester sisters, she readied her wound-covered body and ran towards the window just like Butler had done. She looked like Cinderella, running as she heard the bell toll. You're not getting away, Beatrice! You witch illusion! Erika flew at Beato, trying to grab onto as she dashed away. But it was like trying to catch smoke, and Erika landed face first on the floor. There was no way a human can catch a witch. For one such as her, without love, even touching Beato was impossible. Chester troops! Shoot the witch! Shoot her dead! Alignment conflict, unable to fire. For your attention, we have no barrier prepared which can block Butler's blue truth. Both Chester 0000 and Gertrude spoke with unbelievably calm voices. No one can stop them. Not Butler, or Kinzo, or Beatrice. If these guys escape, then my locked room, my deduction, and I, the detective. Quanto godo! Erika crouched, screaming and clutching at her head. You are the Great Witch. You can't be defeated by something like that geezer's grubby study. It's still the first twilight. Show these newcomers that your game isn't that easy. Just like Butler, Beato also jumped. She drifted down through the gem-dropped jeweled box, whirled into Butler's chest. Butler caught her with both arms as though catching an angel's wings. It was like a knight catching a princess who had been locked up in a tower, like a beautiful picture of a scene from a fairy tale. Crap. I think I'm in love. How old you Shiramya family had guys like this? If you were to chronicle all the daring exploits of Ushiromiya Kinzo, you would probably have a tale longer and wilder than all the grimoires in the studies put together. It seems the tale of the next set will be worth writing down as well. In fact, it is already being written. It is already a very, very long tale. Ronove guarda in camera. The demons giggled at the top of the roof, holding umbrellas, and then they quietly looked down over the two in the courtyard. You're not bad at all. I guess all of your games have toughened me up. In shock, Beato actually praised Butler as she held her in his arms. Butler laughed in his usual carefree way. This is impossible. Impossible. Erika looked down from the window and clenched her teeth, still clutching at her head. Still holding Beato in his arms, Butler grinned back. Erika. What is it? I'm not giving the riddle of the Golden Witch up to you. I'm going to solve it. That riddle belongs to the two of us. Right, Beato? Yes. My riddle is Yo? As Butler gave her a mischievous grin, Beato's face turned uncharacteristically red. But even so, she spoke with a refreshing bright expression while laughing loudly. Oh, mio cuore. Oh. My riddle is yours alone, Ushiromiya Butler. I won't let anyone else solve it. Listen to her saying something like that. Butler snorted, amused that Beato had said something so unlike her. And still holding Beato in his arms, he spun around in a kind of waltz. The falling gem drops celebrated their overcoming of this trial. He jumped down from the third floor, unharmed? He jumped down and escaped from the locked room. This is ridiculous. His reasoning, it's insane. If Butler had at least been seriously injured and writhing in the mud, Erika might still have some ground to stand on. She might have been able to claim that Kinzo couldn't have jumped down with his old body and gotten away unscathed. However, Butler stood calmly in the courtyard, looking up at Erika with the dignity of a victor. Let me ask you again. This can't be possible, right? There's no way a human can jump out of a third-floor store window and land unharmed. Is that right, everyone? Much less Kinzo-san jumping down from the third floor at his age. There's no reasoning behind this. Erika tried to get everyone's agreement and somehow turn things around, but their responses were different from how they had been a short while ago. No, with Kinzo-san it's a possibility. I wouldn't put it past Dad. It's his father we're talking about. There's plenty of crazy stories about that man. Something like this wouldn't surprise me at all. What? Is there something wrong with your heads, in your minds, people? At any rate, it looks like your locked room argument wasn't perfect. Not only the servants, but the family members also agreed. They all agreed that there would be nothing strange about Kinzo jumping down from the third floor window. Just who in the world is this Ushiromiya Kinzo person? Well, I'll give you 60 points. Kinza would have done it with a bit more flash in his younger days. He needs some more tweaking. Oh? And how much should it be tweaked? Well, he might have jumped down with me in his arms. Got it. Next time we do this, I'll jump down with you in my arms. I'd like to see you try. Beato's voice went very shrill and she gulped. Then her body suddenly became a group of gold butterflies and crumbled away. It was because many people had rushed up to the window and she was being bathed with the gazes with the anti-magic toxin. Beato's body became invisible to them and melted into the air. So, to their eyes, it appeared that Butler was standing all alone out in the courtyard. Butler, are you okay? Looks like he's alright. Thank goodness. I am defeated. In that case, for the benefits of the people in the study, deliver me the final blow. Use your final blue truth to show them how Kinzo escaped from the locked room of that study. There was no pain in Glanor's expression. Pleasure and pain never showed up on her face in the first place. However, she used her long sword as a crutch as she struggled to her feet, so it was easy to tell that she had taken heavy damage. And despite her lack of expression, you could tell that this was a loss she could accept. Butler and Glanor turned to face each other. Here I go. Yes, come. As though readying herself, Glanor quietly closed her eyes, but she still stood tall and maintained her air of the dignity. This is my blue truth. The blue power gathered. Butler slowly approached Glanor. Then he faced the rainy sky and he held out the blue truth. Ushiromiya Kinzo escaped the study through the window when Aunt Natsuhi couldn't see him. Aunt Natsuhi didn't notice and locked the window. This way, Aunt Natsuhi can see grandfather go to bed at 11 o'clock and grandfather can escape from the study without contradicting the lock and the window of the window and their door sealed by the receipt. I proved through my demonstration that this escape was physically possible. Therefore, the battle is over. The blue wedge flashed through the courtyard along with a blue bolt of lightning and roared down towards Glanor's forehead as she stared up at the sky. Beato's games are no walk in the park. It's doubtful whether the convention of the mystery genre even apply here. Your swordmanship isn't bad, but you should be more flexible in your thinking. A massive blue wedge which looked like a pillar was above Glanor's forehead, and had stopped with just its tip slightly touching her. It didn't run her through. It made no mark larger than being poked with a pencil. When Butler snapped his finger, the blue wedge shattered and became a shower of translucent gems. No, drops of rain that poured down over the courtyard. Glanor sat down in absent sort of way. Amidst the thunder and rain, the successor of the Ushiromiya family faced the people down from the study and spread his arms wide. Welcome to Beato's and my game. We receive you in open arms, Furudo Erika. Like Ushiromiya Butler. I'll devour it all. This riddle of the witch, all the way deep into its guts, while it's still alive. Butler and Beato both looked calmly up at Erika, who couldn't contain that evil laugh. Oh, this is the good stuff. Erika, that was so lame. Lady Pencastle. Jeez. The face of yours. It's so incredibly laughable. I'd like to squash it flesh and put it in a frame around it. My double is so pathetic, shameful, shameful. Bathed in the sneers of Berncastel, the being who was like a mother to her, Erika was so ashamed that it looked as though she'd chew her lower lip to pieces. For this, I swear. I swear. Shiro mia butler. Beatrice.
Natsuhi.
È andata. This riddle of ours. I won't let anyone else get in the way. Beatrice. Yes. Oh, che bel punto dove finire dopo aver fatto 50 minuti di live in più. Tanto siamo arrivati a Reasoning and Inspection alle 11. Oh. Esatto, un bel episodio ciotto matte, cosa sai? Ok.